Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, thank you for all for coming. Inshallah, I won't bore you too much with the details, but if I go on a bit, just say, okay, move on now, Imam, okay? So, where did it all begin? I suppose growing up as a child, a young boy, going to, I suppose my parents are, well, my family background is predominantly Christian, so going to churches, growing up as a young boy, always never really sat right with me when I got older, especially, praying to Jesus and saying Jesus is God and the Holy Ghost, the Spirit, and all of that stuff. So, and obviously seeing like whitewashed pictures of Jesus on stained glass windows and stuff like that. But so I used to live in Deptford for about 2 years when I was really young. Then I moved to Lee Green. I was there for about 5-6 years, then moved to Grove Park, still Lewisham Borough, in 1995, I think. From there, basically, my neighbours were Bengalis, so they were Muslim, practicing, the mum and dad especially. There was, I think, 3 girls and 2 boys. So growing up with them next door, I suppose, was the start of me witnessing Islam. So obviously growing up very close to the boys, I've got 2 brothers, one older, one younger. So we was very close growing up together, always playing football together, wrestling together, playing computer together. And also obviously eating at each other's houses, birthday parties. Growing up, they was always invited. Obviously they didn't really celebrate birthdays, so we always would buy them something on their birthday and just say, I know you don't celebrate, but here you go, here's a gift for your birthday. From there on, I met an Albanian family who are very dear to my family, because back then I didn't even know what Albanians were. I just thought they were just like some refugee / gypsy type people. So obviously growing up with them, who I'm very close with now, and both our families are very close with each other. So I think now I'm Muslim, I suppose we're even closer. One of my best friends in primary school was also Muslim, Turkish, and he's still about, lives in Lee. So I'm gonna move on to, so the very first time I actually went to Turkey, ironically, was in 2007. I was with my girlfriend, and the first night I was there, I heard the adhan for Fajr. So you can imagine, I didn't know, well, I wasn't ignorant to the fact that we're in a Muslim country, but I obviously didn't know that they would call the adhan and it would be loud and literally everybody could hear it. So I'm asleep, and then all of a sudden I hear the adhan start. I jump up out of my sleep and I'm thinking, what is going on? Where is this noise coming from? And all sorts of stuff is going through my head now. I'm thinking, is there a war? Is what's going on? And obviously straight away I realized, oh, we're in a Muslim country. The adhan is going off, obviously. They're calling for prayer. So obviously, I just relaxed then, and I was just like, speaking to the lady that I was with, I was like, don't worry, it's prayer time. So obviously, that was that. So the next day, went down to the town, started to meet a few locals, and one thing I really liked about being there was how the etiquettes were with meet and greet. So they didn't know me, they didn't know the lady I was with, and obviously basically every male that I encountered would literally say hello to me, give me a handshake, and say hello to obviously the lady I was with, and literally just have the conversation with me, which I didn't think nothing of it. But when everyone was doing it, then I started to realize how respectful they were as people, which I really found, really nice. And then I think a few days in, obviously in the town where I stayed was in Fethiye, Holness, which is a really nice place. If anyone's not been there, I suggest you look it up. It's really nice. You should go. I didn't realise that whilst we were there, it actually was Ramadan. So literally, Dhuhr came in, the adhan will go off. There's a really small masjid there, and everybody literally would stop what they're doing, go make wudu in like a wudu area outside the masjid, all their shoes lined up, and go inside and pray. And I just thought, how amazing is this? They actually would stop trade, stop whatever they were doing, literally in their tracks, and go to the masjid. And I just thought, wow, it really touched me. And especially when leaving there, how I obviously made some good friendships with people there, and how they were just so emotionally distraught that I was leaving, making me promise, come back, please come back. And obviously I haven't been back since, but I do plan to go back. So going back to school now. So when I went to secondary school, one of my closest friends there, their younger brother took their Shahada, and we was always together, inseparable. Everything we did together, ride bikes together, BMX, mountain bikes, motorbikes, did everything together. Got our first mopeds together. I bought my moped off him. We done our big bike test together. Also went out clubbing together, met girls together, bought the same car together. We literally was inseparable. So his younger brother was looking into Islam, and at the time it wasn't such a great time for Islam, especially in the media. So instantly I thought, do you really want to do that? You're 14 years old, but how much do you know about it? Little do I know, one of his closest friends was a Muslim. They're still very good friends today. So obviously he shone some light on it then, because I didn't really pay it no attention growing up as a kid. So now I think he was 14, so me and his brother was I think about 18, maybe 19. So then his brother eventually took his Shahada. So obviously I'm still very close to the family, And then obviously they're basically giving me dawah without giving me too much dawah. Obviously, I started to eventually come to the masjid with them. I was coming to this masjid every Jummah almost. I wasn't a Muslim at the time, and then I literally he asked me a few questions whilst we were just sitting in his room. He said to me, where do you believe you're going to go when you die? And I said, well, I hope heaven. He said, okay, so how do you believe you're going to get there? I said, by being a good person, by doing good to others, do right by most people that you can without being horrible. Don't be a bully, like don't rob, steal, cheat. And he said, okay, what do you think our purpose is in this life? And I said, I'm not too sure. So obviously that got me thinking, and I started to research Islam, and a lot of stuff was coming up. Was obviously Islam v Christianity. Most stuff came up when I typed in like what is Islam, or just general things. So obviously I started to watch a lot of Ahmed Didat, Dr. Zakir Naik on Peace TV, and Mufti Menk. More recently, obviously, Mohammed Hoblos. Quite a few other speakers, so I can't remember off the top of my head, but more, I would say, Ahmed Didat. Well, be pleased with him and forgive me for all his shortcomings. I mean, he was one of the speakers that I actually really liked listening to, and he had very, very good in-depth debates with big Christian pastors or people that studied Christianity. They're obviously not, I don't know if you call them scholars. So literally everybody that came up against him, he would just shut them down eventually and make them look so small. So a lot of things made a lot of sense to me. Also, so after school, I went to college. Sorry, I missed a bit. After school, I went to college. Most of my peers were Muslims there. I studied like PE and like sports, like to basically become a sports teacher. They were Sierra Leone Muslims. There was a group of brothers there, they're very good people. Still in touch with them today. Alhamdulillah, they're still Muslims as well. We played football together. We used to get paid to play football together. We used to train together as well. So eventually, after obviously doing a lot of research, I said to myself, okay, I want to take my Shahada. But I didn't. It was kind of like, even though I was doing a lot of research, I was almost jumping into the unknown. Even though it felt right, I was kind of anxious, scared, and didn't know whether it would be the right thing to do, because I'm a person that if I start something, I like to finish it. So they said to me, just, if you feel ready, just take it. So I said, you know what, if I don't take it, I'm just going to delay it and delay it and delay it and delay it and just keep making excuses. So I eventually took my Shahada with Sumir. Sumir. He was at the masjid. I think Imam Shakil was at Redbridge Masjid most of the time at the time. So unfortunately I didn't get to do it with you. But nevertheless, I took my Shahada with Samir, alhamdulillah. And then I would say instantly it was overwhelming. The feeling was amazing. At the same time, it was like, in the back of my head, I was like, did I do the right thing? What can I do? What can't I do? What shall I stop doing? Where do I go from here? Obviously, the brothers were accommodating, saying, you know, we'll look after you, no problem. We'll give you some books you can read and blah, blah, blah. And wanted to take my number and stuff like that. So what I did was I went home, and then a few days later I asked my mum what her thoughts would be if I became a Muslim. And she said to me, she looked at me and went, I will support you in whatever you choose or whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do. I will support you no matter what, and I love you. So I said, alright, well, I became a Muslim. And she said, oh, okay, that's great. So I eventually had the same conversation with my father. It went the complete opposite way. So he was the hurdle that, obviously growing up, I respected my father so much, and my mum obviously, but more my dad, because he was the man of the house, the breadwinner, went out to work. He's Afro-Caribbean descent from St. Lucia. My mum's English white from Dartford, so complete different parts of the world where they're from. But my dad was born and raised in Peckham, my mum was born and raised in Dartford. So I was very nervous speaking to my dad, and taking me back right now, I'm starting to sweat just even thinking about the conversation. So I said to my dad, how would you feel if I become a Muslim? He said, Geez, I wouldn't really suggest you did that. And I said, why not? And he said, because basically I have friends that were Muslims. He said they used to go drink alcohol in the pub, say, don't worry, I'll be forgiven if I ask for forgiveness. Used to go gamble in the bookies or gamble wherever they was gambling. Said, don't worry, I'll be forgiven if I ask for forgiveness. I said, Dad, it don't really work like that. So you can't just go and do wrong and say, don't worry, I'll be forgiven, because you're doing something intentionally and then thinking just because you're Muslim you'll be forgiven, and you ask for forgiveness. And I said to him, so is that all you got to say on the matter? And he said, no, obviously, what does basically it's not. I think around the time he started mentioning, I think it was when the whole madness was happening with the Black Flag crew, let me just say that. And also, I think obviously he brought up what happened in New York, in America. I said, yeah, but you can't really say, tarnish everyone with the same brush, because you got to look at the rest of the world. They're just a minority which have been highlighted. Obviously, it's devastating what's going on, and it's not right. But just because they've done that doesn't mean that I'm gonna follow the same path, or it'll make me a worse person than I am today. And he said, well, you basically alienate yourself from the family eventually. which I didn't really understand at the time. I thought, why would I? And things have been difficult since then, especially when it comes to Christmas time. I stopped celebrating Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, Easter, Halloween, everything that the West done. So not a lot of my family could understand why I just shut that off straight away, and it's hard to, especially if everyone's been doing it for most of their life, especially if they're adults and aunts and uncles and stuff like that. Obviously, I just like, why have you changed doing this, doing that? Why can't you do it? And obviously, it's difficult explaining and breaking it down in the most polite way possible. That, you know, we just can't do it without going into too much detail. So I had my son, 2016. We had a kika for my son, and at the time as well, I'm sorry, I've skipped a bit. I told my dad at the end of the phone call, well, it's too late, I'm already a Muslim, I took my Shahada, I'm a Muslim. This didn't go down too well, but that was that. Then obviously I had my son in 2016. I said that there will be segregated seating, so the ladies will be upstairs and the men down. The men upstairs and the ladies downstairs. Quite a lot of my aunts on my dad's side was like, why is that? And I said, because I'm trying to keep it as halal as possible. And it didn't go down too well. Some came, my dad begrudgingly came, but alhamdulillah he came, but he stayed only for like 20 minutes, helped set up for a short amount of time, mainly because my mum was gonna come and they're not together. And then it was a nice akika for my son. Quite a lot of the brothers from this masjid came. Then that was that. But moving on, my older brother called me one day. He said that he wanted to change and he was sobbing and sounded desperate. And I said, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you ringing me out of the blue and saying that, oh, I've done a lot of bad in my past, I want to change? I said, okay. He said, yeah, I want to become Muslim, I want to take my Shahada. And I was like, what? Where did this come from? He said, yeah, I've been watching a lot of Peace TV. And I was like, okay. Right, okay. I said, yeah, when you come, because I think at the time he was living in Strood or Gillingham, somewhere like that. I said, okay, no problem. When you come down, I'll bring you to the masjid and go and take your Shahada. Alhamdulillah, he came on the 30th of November 2013 and took his Shahada with Imam Shakil. And most recently, my mum called me on another day, and she was saying to me, what's that word when you say them words and you become a Muslim? And she said, ahada. She started saying all random things, and I was like, no, mum, that's not it. I said, Shahada. She said, yes. I said, oh, okay, why? And she went, yeah, I just took my Shahada. Me and her friend Dennis, they both took their Shahada. And I was just like, what? Where? And where are you? Who are you with? And what's going on? I said, are you joking? She said, no, I'm not. On my life, I've just taken my Shahada. I said, Mom, are you joking? She said, no, I'm not. She videoed it, and I said, send me the video. She sent me the video. She was in Brixton. She took a Shahada with a few Brixton brothers. Alhamdulillah. And that was one of my biggest du'as since I've been a Muslim, that my parents become Muslim. Alhamdulillah, my mum is now. Obviously, may Allah guide my dad to become Muslim, I mean. And that happened, when did that happen? 27th of October 2018. So I was buzzing now. My mum's a Muslim and I did not see it coming. My brother's a Muslim. I've a younger brother who's not a Muslim, but may Allah guide him too, I mean. So going back a little bit now, so I met a lady in court. I had a friend in court, not me. And that she had a friend in court as well at the same time, ironically. So my friend sat down, he had like a file of whatever happened while he was there, and she just looked over, being nosy. She's like, oh, that looks bad. And he said, oh, no, it wasn't me. And she said, yeah, that's what they all say. And then he went in, and then we just sat outside chatting for a bit. And then he came out, everything was fine. She had to go in to hear what was happening with her friend. Then we left, and my friend was like, oh, why didn't you get a number? I said, nah, man, she fancied you, she didn't really fancy me. He was like, no, man, you should go for it. I said, no, you know what? Nah, I don't really want it. He said, nah, go on, she probably liked you, I could tell. I was like, really? He said, yeah. I said, all right then. Spun the car back round, drove all the way back to the court, ran upstairs, and my heart is racing. Got to the top floor. These days I wrote my BBM pin and number on a piece of paper. Got to the lobby, she wasn't there. I was like, oh no, she's gone in. And then I've peered through the glass in the door, and she's sitting in the courtroom, and I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? She's in there, and I couldn't see whether her friend had come out or not. So then I've literally paced myself up and down inside some little box room. I'm going, shall I go in, shall I not? Shall I go in, shall I not? So I went, you know what, let me just go in there. I went in there, didn't even look to the right. The judge was talking and everything. And I went, this is my number, call me. Then I ran down the stairs, got back in the car. A few days later, I had a text message come through. I thought it was from somebody else who I'd been trying to get hold of because she was doing my insurance. Long story. Then I've gone, oh, a long time. I've been trying to get hold of you. I need insurance on my car. I was 19 years old driving a 3.2 V6. So obviously I couldn't insure it. No one would insure me. It was like 10 grand for insurance. So this girl, I thought it was her. It wasn't her. And then she was like, who do you think it is? And I said, oh. And then I realized it was the lady from the court. And I was like, oh no. How do I get myself out of this? Couldn't. And then she was like, oh, you must be chatting to loads of different girls. This is long. I'm not going to talk to you from now. I was like, no. I made a mistake. It was genuine. Alhamdulillah, I married her about 2 years later. I have a 3.5-year-old son. Named him after a great man named Imam Shakil. We just had a 5-week-old baby girl, alhamdulillah. So I've been Muslim now 8 years. First 2 years I wasn't really practicing. I was still going out, doing whatever I was doing, nightclubs, haram money, dating lots of different girls. Eventually that all stopped. Made great relationships with brothers from this masjid. I also basically became a muallim of the masjid, which was a great honor. Had a phone call from the imam from the masjid one day, driving along. He said, Zain, would you fancy becoming a muallim? I was like, what? And I said, really? I couldn't believe it. And literally, after he put the phone down, I started sobbing like a little girl. Because I thought, you know what an honor, like how my life has changed. Especially on the day of judgment, how your neck's elongated and everybody, you're distinguished amongst the masses, so everybody would know what you was in the dunya. So that was that, and that's pretty much my story without going into too much detail.
Zain, very, very interesting.